How's it going, everybody? Chaotic Meatball here, and welcome back to the channel. So today, I figured it's about time we finish off Generation 2 with the Professor Oak's challenge of Pokemon Gold and Silver. I'll be handling Silver today, and man, this one's a doozy. So grab yourself a drink or two and maybe a snack, since you're gonna need something to get through this crazy one. But before we start though, the rules are important but simple. Rule number 1, I must capture and evolve every Pokemon possible before every gym badge, no exceptions. Rule number 2, no glitches, and rule number 3, no trading. Simple, right? Well, find out as I take down Professor Oak's challenge in Pokemon Silver. Before I get to choose my starter though, I'd like to remind you all to subscribe to the channel. We are less than 1,000 subscribers away from hitting 100k, so make sure you turn that red button gray. Also, I'm working on a shiny only Professor Oak's challenge of Pokemon Let's Go over on twitch.tv/ChaoticMeatballTV immediately after this challenge goes live, so go ahead and open that in a new tab right now. I'll wait for a minute. No, not really a minute, but definitely head on over there, and while I do this intro stuff before getting the starter, why not take the time to talk about today's video sponsor, Ridge Wallets. I'm sure you've heard about Ridge Wallets if you've been on YouTube for more than a day, but let me be the one to convince you to pick one of these up. Before, I was just using a boring old Velcro wallet with no protection that I've since thrown away, but the Ridge Wallet has improved both my security and my style, admittedly. The Ridge Wallet is the most compact and durable wallet you can find, with RFID blocking technology to protect your card's information from unwanted digital pickpockets, and holds up to 12 cards, including room for cash. So those gift cards that you get for your birthday or Christmas will fit in there perfectly. Also, there's over 30 different colors for you to choose from, and I've got the white and blue wallets here, and I've already given a black one to my dad, and he has been enjoying it. And since they're backed by over 40,000 5-star reviews, the team over at Ridge is so confident that you'll like it that you can take the wallet out for a test run, a whole 45 days, so you can send it back if you don't love it. You can get your own or get one as a gift for your friends or family members by going down in the description, using my link, and using the coupon code MEATBALL for 10% off of your order. Thank you so much again to Ridge for sponsoring this video, and let's get into the Professor Oak challenge. Anyway, starter time, and of course, as always with Johto starters, I'm choosing Totodile since it fully evolves at level 30 as opposed to level 32 for Meganium and 36 for Typhlosion. So there's no reason to talk about the choice any further. I'm not able to capture anything else until I finish the event with Mr. Pokemon, the Rival, and Professor Elm's Egg, but once I am, it's time for probably the most difficult part of the run, that being your mother. Yes, your mother is difficult. With that being said, she wants to save money for me, and I absolutely say yes. With every trainer that I defeat, a quarter of the winnings will go to her automatically, but this is not going to be enough, so I need to give her as much money as possible by going home and manually depositing it to her. What we're trying to get is a Moonstone, which we need for this section. Once the savings reach a certain amount, she will call to say that she's purchased something and deposit it into the PC. The catch is that to trigger this phone call, you need to defeat a trainer where your mother is already at the required threshold, or the money she receives from the battle will push her over that threshold. This means that I have to absolutely keep trainers available for battle each time she's about to purchase an item, and since rematches aren't available for the pre-badge 1 section, and the trainers in the Violet City Gym won't count since I can't get signal for the Pokegear, though trainers in the Sprout Tower and on the various routes available will have reception, so I'll have to save them. This is all in preparation, again, to get a Moonstone, which is purchased when $15,000 is saved. But since the previous 4 items, those being a Super Potion, a Repel, a second Super Potion, and a Charmander doll, all cost money, I'll need $18,270 in total to get the Moonstone. So before I can even get any of my encounters, I sat in front of this berry tree on Route 29, saved, soft resetted, using the down select and B combo to access the clock reset menu, enter the password that's calculated by your name, current money, and trainer ID, and using this handy dandy calculator on Psypoke's website, finds me the code which I can just enter over and over again, grab the berry, save, change the time, and repeat this ad nauseum for about 9 hours. In total, 2,033 berries are needed, which gets $5 per berry, and $10,165 in total. The game starts you with 3,000, and selling every item available in pre-badge 1 gets me another $2,955, as well as $2,151 from all battles in pre-badge 1, with the exception of Bug Catcher Dawn. I want to save Dawn here since he's both optional and gives me the least amount of money for beating him. The other 4 items are purchased naturally while going through the section, clearing out trainers with our trusty Totodile. Before fighting Catcher Dawn though, I head back to the mother, hand her the remainder of my cash to get to 15,000, then after battling him, the Moonstone is safely contained in my PC. Not too bad if I do say so myself. Now I can retrieve the remainder of my money, tell my mother to stop holding onto it, buy a boatload of Pokeballs, and get catching. First up is Route 29, where I can capture Rattata, Pidgey, and Sentret during the day, as well as Hoot Hoot during the night, and directly north is Route 46, housing Geodude, Jigglypuff, and Spearow during the daytime. In case you were wondering what that Moonstone was needed for, so I grabbed Jigglypuff, evolving it straight into Wigglytuff. Route 30 is third on the list with some version exclusives, those being Ladybug and Weedle during the morning and silver version, but if you're playing gold, you can get Caterpie and Spinarak. A few more to go as Route 31 nets me an evolution in Croconaw at level 18, as well as 2 Bellsprouts, and Dark Cave is home of Zubat, as well as the first 1% encounter in Dunsparce. I was kinda lucky with this in Crystal, but it took a little bit longer here, taking about 50 minutes before I could nab it. Not too much left for me to do as Violet City is just ahead, housing the trade that requires that second Bellsprout for an Onix, as well as a Ghastly during the night in the Sprout Tower. All that's left is the Ruins of Alph for this section, where I can solve the first Kabuto puzzle, drop down into the encounter area, and find myself an unknown. Perfect, that's all the captures for this section done. So, where do we want to grind? Well, my first instinct is to stay Sprout Tower during the night, as the Ghastlys have the highest EXP yield out of the entirety of this section. But not everything available to us can hit Ghastly, as normal type moves are prevalent starting out. Croconaw has 2 moves in Water Gun and Bite, so that's fine. Pidgey's only got Gust until level 29 when it learns Wing Attack, but I have to keep it unevolved to get it that early. Sentret doesn't have anything, neither does Rattata. Hoot Hoot and Spearow only have Peck. Geodude at least has Rock Throw at level 11 and Magnitude at level 16, and since abilities don't exist, Ghastly can be hit by ground type moves, so it'll work. Weedle evolves fully at level 10, so who cares? Ladybug only has 2 normal type attacks until it evolves, so no. Bellsprout has Vine Whip, but that's not going to KO Ghastly before it evolves. Zubat has Leech Life, a terrible move that's resisted, and Bite, which hits but is only 1 move. And Ghastly hits, but also gets hit with super effective damage, so it'll be a bit of work, but I should be fine. So I made my team up of Croconaw, Pidgey, Hoot Hoot, Spearow, Ghastly, and Zubat starting out, and trained with those exclusively. Healing only when all 6 run out of their power points on things that can hit Ghastlys, with the 15% Rattatas just being a bonus with the PP I can't use on Ghastlys, or Faint. This lets me evolve Hoot Hoot into Noctowl at level 20, Spearow into Fearow at level 20, Zubat into Golbat at level 22, and into Crobat 1 level later, Ghastly into Haunter at level 25, and Croconaw into Feraligatr at level 30. Those who don't have good attacking moves are all headed towards the Ruins of Alph to grind on the consistent unknowns, including Pidgey in case I need something to switch into for the first few levels of their grind. These unknowns always yield the same amount of EXP since they're all level 5, so overall they're the most consistent Pokemon to take out. All of this grinding is able to net me every evolution needed, getting Weedle into Kakuna at level 7 and into Beedrill at level 10, Sentret into Furret at level 15, Ladybug into Ledian at level 18, Rattata into Raticate at level 20, Bellsprout into Weepinbell at level 21, Geodude into Graveler at level 25, and Pidgey into Pidgeotto at level 29, delaying to get Wing Attack early, and Pidgeotto into Pidgeot at level 36. And that's that! I'm able to save in front of Falkner with a total of 33 Pokemon and a time of 42 hours and 8 minutes. Not too bad if I say so myself. The fact that nearly a fourth of this section's time is dedicated to the Moonstone, though, is kind of funny in hindsight. With Falkner destroyed, as soon as I step outside, I'm told that one of Professor Elm's aides is in the Pokemon Center with the Mystery Egg. We'll need it, of course, so I grab it and head south to Route 32. In case you were curious why we didn't grab the Pokemon here last section, that's because the patch of grass that's here in HGSS isn't here in the originals. So, of course, that means I'm capturing Wooper during the night, Ekans only in Silver version, Mareep, and Hoppip during the day to take care of the area. Fortunately, I don't have to save the trainers for some phone call, so I run on through them, grabbing the old rod from the Pokemon Center right before the Union Cave. Unfortunately, that means we've got to backtrack. Right here on Route 32, I can fish up Magikarp, as well as get Fisherman Ralph's phone number. Dark Cave is the home of Goldeen, Route 30 has Poliwag, Cherry Grove City houses Krabby, and New Bark Town houses Tentacool. Convenient place to be as well, seeing as just like in Crystal, after we got Fisherman Ralph's number on Route 32, then switching the daylight savings setting through our mother so that he'll call me over and over again, then he tells me that there's a swarm. This lets me go back to Route 32, hatching Togepi on my way through to fish up Quillfish. This finishes up the backtracking, and now that I'm back on Route 32, I can just easily proceed into Union Cave. There's nothing to capture here in Silver version, though there is Sandshrew in Gold, so I can just proceed through into Azalea Town and trigger the rocket event to get into the Slowpoke well. Of course, we'll need its namesake Slowpoke from here, and after that capture, I'm able to take on my rival, sweep him, and head into the Ilex Forest for the last set of regular encounters for the time being. Those are Paris and Oddish at night. Perfect, now for the grinding that I'll have to take care of. Firstly, I want to 100% focus on Slowpoke and exclusively Slowpoke, since as you probably already know by now, it gets headbutt by level up. The best place to grind until then, however, is the Union Cave, seeing as there's a bunch of bulky rock and ground types that yield big EXP like Onix and to a lesser extent Geodude. This takes a few hours, but I'm finally able to get headbutt, in turn letting me go after the 4 final encounters for the section. Using a handy-dandy map tool that I'm going to be including in the description, I'm able to calculate where my headbutt encounters should be with any map using exclusively my trainer ID. So after checking, I'm able to grab myself both Execute and Pineco in Azalea Town, and Heracross and Aipom on Route 32. Luckily, Aipom doesn't evolve in this gen, nor do abilities exist, so I don't have to worry about grinding it for either. Anyway, now that we're going into full grinding mode, the best place to grind is on Heracross. It's got a huge EXP yield, and at a 30% encounter rate, we're sitting pretty well here. It's pretty easy to take out with basically everything available, with the exception of stuff that basically can't take out anything, like Hoppip or Magikarp, but Switch Training is your best friend here. I also have a problem with Togepi, since I can't exactly gain friendship walking around except for going to the Pokemon Center and back, so that's gonna be the biggest thing on my Switch Training list. With all that said though, I just used Slowpoke to repeatedly headbutt the tree so many times that it probably added up to more than the amount of headbutts used by Harley Race, Chris Benoit, and Brian Danielson combined. I was able to evolve Magikarp into Gyarados at level 20, Wooper into Quagsire at level 20, Hoppip into Skiploom at level 18, Ekans into Arbok at level 22, Oddish into Gloom at level 21, Mareep into Flaffy at level 15, Poliwag into Poliwhirl at level 25, Slowpoke into Slowbro at level 37, Tentacool into Tentacruel at level 30, Paris into Parasect at level 24, Skiploom into Jumpluff at level 27, Krabby into Kingler at level 28, Flaffy into Ampharos at level 30, Pineco into Forretress at level 31, Goldeen into Seaking at level 33, and surprisingly enough, Togepi into Togetic after only 1 level with max happiness. Must have gotten enough from all of the walking around from earlier. And with that, we're finished from pre-batch 2 with a total of 67 Pokemon and a time of 74 hours and 35 minutes. Not too bad in all. A sub 75 is pretty darn good for including the Moonstone and pre-batch 1. That said though, I swept right through Bugsy and moved on my merry way. So this is the part of the challenge where I asked myself, why the heck did I not do this Johto game first? Because upon entering Route 34 and expecting to need Picnicker Gina's phone number for Leaf Stones, turns out there's no calls for stones in Gold and Silver. After having done this in Heartgold, Soulsilver, and Crystal, I can safely say that, woo! Yeah, baby! Was definitely my reaction for this. With that revelation in mind, I'm able to just capture Pokemon without a care in the world, getting 2 Drowsy, Ditto, and Abra from this route. Well, I guess that second one will help out, since I can breed it with my Wigglytuff to get an egg. There's also no random egg from the daycare like there is in Crystal, so I don't have to worry about resetting to get a Tyrogue. With the egg in hand though, there's a few errands to do in Goldenrod City, like grabbing the bike, the radio card, and the coin case, which we'll need to spend an exorbitant amount of money on in order to get coins. I'll get to these later since I don't have enough money yet for all of those encounters. The only Pokemon available in the city proper right now is a trade with that extra Drowsy that I caught, as on the 5th floor of the Goldenrod Mart is a trade for a Machop. Next area on the list is Route 35, which has 3 Pokemon of its own, but before that, I made sure to evolve Abra into Kadabra at level 16, then capture Nidoran Female, Nidoran Male, and the 1% Abra, which took about a half hour to find, so that's not too bad. But the first 2 reminded me of the current shiny hunting hell I'm in with the Let's Go Shiny POC. If you have not followed the Twitch channel yet to watch the torture, I must implore you to do so, link in the description. Just beyond is the National Park, which of course houses the bug catching contest. There's a pretty significant chunk of bugs I need to get here, those being Caterpie, or Weedle and Gold, Scyther, Butterfree, Metapod, Pinsir, and Venonat. I, of course, keep Venonat since it needs to be evolved and its evolution is not catchable like it was with Caterpie, and somehow, with the Venonat, I managed to win the contest, getting the first of 2 Sunstones I need for this section. Not sure how that happened, but hey, at least we got some extra stuff done. I'll grab the second shortly, but for the last area of Pre-Badge 3, Route 36 houses 2 new Pokemon for me, Vulpix, or Growlithe and Gold version, as well as Stantler. Speaking of which, I'm very happy this thing is getting an evolution. About time, I say. We've still got a few errands to run here, and I've got to grab that second Sunstone. The best way I found to do so was to bring in Haunter, use Hypnosis on a Scyther, Pinsir, or Venonat, and just capture it at full HP, as the winner of the contest is based on stats. And unfortunately, if you lower the Pokemon's HP, that counts as a reduced stat, so it's a bit of a war of attrition, but feasible. In a short time, I was able to get the second Sunstone, encountering Sunkern outside of the bug-catching contest, but still in National Park, then evolving it into Sunflora, as well as my Gloom into Blossom. Lastly, the Game Corner encounters. I don't quite have enough money for the coins for these, so I went ahead and did the same method I did with the berry tree used for grinding money for the Moonstone, but with the white apricorn tree behind Kurt's house. In Gold and Silver, apricorns sell for $100 each, as opposed to not being sellable at all in HGSS, so after getting 360 of these, I'm able to sell them, get coins, 700 for Sandshrew, or Ekans if you're playing Gold, and 2100 for Dratini. Well, I guess there needed to be some form of suffering for avoiding the Evolution Stone phone calls this time. Not that big of a deal though, I'm used to these high-level evolutions by now, and I figure it's about grind time. Everything in this section is a weenie in comparison to Dratini, as the second highest level evolution is Venonat at 31, so there's no real need to worry. What I found was the best way of going about this grind was just doing the early levels through headbutt trees, as the high EXP yield of Heracross is still the best way to go. The closest place to us with them is Route 32, where the level 10 ones provide 285 EXP every time they're knocked out, with a 30% chance of coming out. Apom is still decent and Spearow isn't that good, but the 30% chance of Heracross is enough to offset it. Now I could use Headbutt on trees on Route 35 or 36 for Beedrill, but that only comes out 5% of the time, and with worse Pokemon like Weedle and Pineco coming out at a combined 80% of the time. And the fact that a lower base EXP yield compared to Heracross, it just makes it completely inferior. Once the beginning levels were taken out though, and evolutions like Nidoran Male into Nidorino at level 16, Nidoran Female into Nidorina at level 16, Machop into Machoke at level 28, and Sandshrew into Sandslash at level 22 were taken care of, everything else can effectively grind in the bug catching contest. I kind of needed my Pokemon to be a high enough level for this place since I can only bring in one Pokemon at a time, but the yields of things like Butterfree, Beedrill, Scyther, and Pinsir, as well as to a lesser extent Kakuna and Metapod, come out at a pretty reasonable 20% of the time for the former 4. And thanks to their max level being either 14 or 15, they yield more than Heracross does at level 10, making this a more effective use of my time for the slight sacrifice of consistency. Thanks to these encounters though, I'm able to evolve the remainder of my Pokemon, including hatching Igglybuff before evolving Venonat into Venomoth at level 31, Drowsy into Hypno at level 26, and finally Dratini into Dragonair at level 30, and into Dragonite at a whopping level 55. Without pickup, this is still a doozy to take care of, but I'm still able to finish the section with a total of 97 Pokemon and a time of 89 hours and 54 minutes. Cutting it pretty close for the sub 90 mark, but now I'm able to kick Whitney's team so hard that they roll out of the battlefield, giving me yet another badge and another bad joke with another explanation. that I have to give to myself. Why did I say it? Well, it's time to explore another section, but explore is a relative term. It's more like aimlessly searching for 3 roaming Pokemon and hope to God that you're able to capture them without going insane. Before we get there though, I'm able to head into the flower shop, grab the watering can, and wake up that Sudowoodo that's in my way. Capturing it and getting the TM for Rock Smash for later, and skipping on over to Ecruteak City, seeing as there's nothing new on Route 37. In the Pokemon Center, I can speak to Bill and chase him back to Goldenrod City to grab an Eevee. I can't get evolution stones until the post-game, so for now I just bred Eevee with Ditto once to get an egg, and kept the gift one in my party for now. Before I fight the Kimono girls, it would probably be smart if I went into the Burn Tower for something to grind, since the Friendship Evolution Eevees don't exactly need that much EXP to evolve. So I went into the Burn Tower, bought the rival, and found both Coughing and Magmar. There we go, that's something with a high level evolution. But since I have Magmar, I may as well breed it now as well. And with a grindable Pokemon in hand, I'm able to release the legendary beasts, run through the Kimono girls, and get the HM for Surf. Yeah, as I said, aimless searching is going to be happening, but not until I finish the rest of this section. Now that those monsters are released, I can go ahead and proceed to Route 38, where there's a significant chunk of Pokemon to grab, those being Magnemite, Farfetch'd during the day, Meowth only in Silver version, Tauros, Miltank, and after a bit of an impromptu grinding session, the 1% Snubbull, as well as hatching both Magby and my second Eevee during the search. That's quite a lot, but half of them don't evolve in this gen, and the rest are pretty easy grinds at this point in the game. Next on the docket is Olivine City, housing a trade with that extra Krabby that I got all the way back in the pre-badge 2 section, giving me Voltorb in return. And since I can get the good rod here, there's a bit of fishing to be done. Here in the city itself, I can get Corsola during the morning and Staryu during the night, but also in the harbor, I'm able to grab a Chinchou and Shelter. We're getting close to the end of the encounters for this section, but before I continue with it, I cleared out the trainers from the lighthouse, evolving Coughing into Wheezing at level 35, then taking a quick detour to Route 40 to the west to grab myself a Shuckle from the Rock Smash rocks here. There's nothing else for me out in this direction, so I headed all the way back to Ecruteak City and took the eastern exit towards Route 42. There's nothing on the route itself in Silver version, but in Mount Mortar I can grab myself another 1% encounter in Marill. On the other side you can get Mankey in Gold version, but that just leaves one more encounter. North of Mahogany Town is Route 43, where a certain palindrome of a Pokemon is here in Girafarig, finishing up our non-roamer encounters for the section. Alright, time to handle the legendary beasts. I've had Haunter outside of the box, and I've been using it as my main switch training companion, and it's been enough to get it to level 37, so I just leveled it twice more with the trainers on Route 43. This is so that I can repel trick out all 3 beasts, and lock them in with Mean Look, put them to sleep with Hypnosis, and damage them enough to where throwing balls is not going to waste any real money or time. I've also only got a few Ultra Balls as well, so I'll have to use them very, very carefully, and possibly reset if I'm not getting good enough luck. I found that following this guide that I'm putting on screen is 100% the way to go for me, especially when it comes to conserving the few Ultra Balls available, and since Haunter is fast enough and can hold its own, I'm eventually able to hold down and capture Suicune, Raikou, and Entei, letting me add 3 legendaries to the total. This actually didn't take long at all, only a bit over an hour, so let's get to the actual grinding. I found that Route 43 during the night is the most optimal place to train, seeing as Noctowl gives a boatload of EXP, as does Girafarig, and to a slightly lesser extent, Flaffy. Not to mention, there's only a few Pokemon to evolve by level up in this section anyway, so it's not even like I have to train much. It was relatively easy to evolve Voltorb into Electrode at level 30, Marill into Azumarill at level 18, Snubbull into Granbull at level 23, Chinchou into Lantern at level 27, Eevee into Umbreon with max happiness during the night, Meowth into Persian at level 28, Magnemite into Magneton at level 30, and after shifting the time to day, the second Eevee into Espeon with max happiness. Awesome! Now I can save in front of Morty with a total of 128 Pokemon and a time of 98 hours and 34 minutes. Almost at the 100 hour mark. Let's see if I can finish this next section before then. Pre-Badge 5 is where the game starts opening up, and we have the Well, the illusion of choice. Jasmine, Chuck, and Price are all available to fight, but we'll be taking on the last of those for this section as Price opens up the most Pokemon after beating him, since he gives us access to Whirlpool outside of battle. But before that, we've got a little bit of work to do. With Surf outside of battle available thanks to Morty, I'm able to head all the way back to New Barktown and surf over to Route 27 and access Tojo Falls. This doesn't have any new Pokemon per se, but it does give me access to a Moonstone, which I use immediately to evolve Nidorino into Nidoking. Next up is the back of the Dark Cave on Route 31, where I can surf towards the northern section, and Wobbuffet is available here. Third revisited area on the list is Union Cave, where I can travel deeper into and find an exit to the ruins of Alph, containing both Natu and Smeargle. But on the main floor of Union Cave on Fridays, I can evolve Natu into Xatu at level 25 after the few trainers in here, but the actual part that consists on Fridays is finding and capturing a wild Lapras. Last up on revisits is the Goldenrod side of Ilex Forest, where a pool of water happens to contain Psyduck. Perfect! That's all of the encounters for this section, seeing as Mantine is exclusive to Gold version, so all we've got to do is take out Team Rocket over in Mahogany Town, evolving Psyduck into Golduck at level 33 against them and Price's gym trainers, finishing the section with a total of 136 Pokemon and a time of 100 hours and 27 minutes. Alright, just shy of 2 hours for that section, that's pretty decent. Only a few more sections to go before the Elite Four. The next section here is a double header, seeing as neither badge gives me the ability to get anything new, but with Whirlpool access from Price, I can head on over to the Whirl Islands on Route 41, where I can find a Seal by running around, and Horsey by surfing. Not bad. There's a decent amount of trainers still around on the surfing routes here, not to mention the gym trainers in Chuck's gym are a great source of EXP as well. But there really isn't a new place to grind that's better than Route 43 during the night, but that's still plenty to evolve Horsey into Seadra at level 32, and Seal into Dugong at level 34, finishing the section with a time of 102 hours and 20 minutes, and a total of 140 Pokemon. Only 111 more in the deck, so the rest of this challenge shouldn't be too painful, especially with Fly now accessible outside of battle, which makes everything convenient. Sadly, of course, because this is Johto, immediately after the 7th badge is obtained, it's time for the long-ass Team Rocket radio tower stuff. But this time, I actually have something to grind up. See, we'll need a female Dragonair for a trade in Blackthorn City, so I just did a few resets over in the game corner to grab a female Dratini so that I could switch train it on all of the grunts and admins. I also went back to Mr. Pokemon, traded my red skill for the EXP share, so that my Dratini gets 75% of the EXP instead of just 50%, and I'm able to rip through Team Rocket with my already evolved Dragonite, eventually leading to Dratini evolving at the end, and me getting the Silver Wing. Alright, now it's time to grab the box legendary. Lugia is available at the bottom of the Whirl Islands, and since it's about the same level as Haunter, putting it to sleep and whittling it down just like I did with the legendary beast is pretty simple, letting me capture it in about a dozen balls. Well, that wasn't too bad. Usually legendaries are a bit harder to grab in these earlier games, but with Lugia in tow, it's time for some normal encounters again. To the east of Mahogany Town is Route 44, where there's 3 new encounters. 2 of which are in the grass, those being Lickitung and Tangela, but there's 1 more from fishing. Just like Fisherman Ralph back in Pre-Badge 2, I can talk to Fisherman Wilton and get his phone number, then fly back to New Barktown and do the Daylight Savings exploit, and... oh, right, this is a thing. See, you can't actually shift Daylight Savings time between the hours 11 PM to 12 AM because the game doesn't know how to handle a day change through this function, so it just doesn't let you. So after changing the time to anything but those, Wilton calls me about a swarm, this time of Remoraid, getting the last encounter for the area and allowing me to proceed into the Ice Path. There's a few new things here too, including Jinx, Swinub, and Delibird only in Silver version, finally putting both versions on equal footing again. After getting into Blackthorn City, I remember that I need to braid Jinx, but I may as well do that after sending over my Dragonair that I trained up for that ride-on that I was talking about earlier, breeding both and getting 2 eggs before heading back to Blackthorn. The last area I need to go for encounters is Route 45, which has 2 version exclusives, Phanpy and Skirnery for Silver version, or Teddiursa and Gligar for Gold version. Sweet! Now that all I have to do is grind up Remoraid, Phanpy, and Swinub, this shouldn't be any problem. The first two both evolve at level 25 and swine up at 33, so this is a relatively easy grind against the likes of Geodude and Graveler here on Route 45, as well as switch training on the trainers here on this route, as well as the gym trainers in the Blackthorn gym. During this time, I'm able to hatch both Smoochum and Rhyhorn before evolving Remoraid into Octillery, Phanpy into Donphan, and Swinub into Piloswine, ending the section with a total of 155 Pokemon and a time of 105 hours and 29 minutes, grabbing the last Johto badge from Claire in the Dragon's Den, and moving towards the Pokemon League. Though, before we go there is one more revisit I need to take care of before heading to Kanto. That would be in Mount Mortar. Now that I have access to Waterfall outside of battle, there's another room containing the Karate King, and upon defeating him, I'm given a Tyrogue. I can't breed it until it evolves, so I just drag it along into Kanto, capturing Doduo, and then evolving it into Hitmontop at level 20 on some trainers before capturing the last two encounters of the area, Dodrio and Ponyta. Not gonna lie, Tyrogue evolving into Hitmontop first thing is very surprising, but it makes life a lot easier. So I can freely go back to Goldenrod City, grab vitamins for the other two, and breed two more Tyrogues. After hatching, these two are easily able to evolve into Hitmonchan with higher defense at level 20, and Hitmonlee with higher attack at level 20, thanks to some more of the trainers on Route 27. The remainder of the trainers, including the rival battle at the end of Victory Road, were just enough to evolve Ponyta into Rapidash at level 40, finishing the section with a total of 163 Pokemon and a time of 107 hours and 32 minutes. Just a hair over 2 hours, not too bad. But now I can pummel the Elite Four and Lance with my legendary beast, Psychic Bird thing, and my giant dragon, letting me move on to the second half of the game and the challenge. Kanto is now completely open to me since I'm the champion, and there's still a pretty decent chunk of Pokemon over here, but not as many as you'd really expect. The majority of these can be captured without getting any new badges too, so I should be in a pretty good position. Firstly on the to-do list is to grab whatever I can before I start going around doing side quests, seeing as there's a boatload of trainers to take down around here, and I need to divert that EXP to some Pokemon that actually need it. First up, I can head to Saffron City and over to Route 7 during the night to capture Murkrow and Houndour. Then I can grab Grimer and Muck from Surfing in Celadon City. There's another encounter here that I can't get, seeing as it requires 9,999 coins from the game corner, and though I'm close, I don't quite have enough yet, so I'll have to come back at the end of the section to put the rest of the money towards it. West of Celadon City is Route 17, which contains Slugma during the day, leading me towards Fuchsia City, where Houndour evolved into Houndoom at level 24 before entering. There's no Safari Zone, thank the Lord, and no way to surf south as it's blocked off, so heading east to Route 15 is the only option I have, where Chansey is available as a 1% encounter. But since it's the highest level Pokemon available on the route, except for Pidgeotto, they're the only two level 25 Pokemon on this route, I can easily repel Trick It Out with my Xatu and capture two of them, as a bit further in is Route 14, where I need to trade one of them for an Aerodactyl. I'm not even going to comment again on how common this apparently extinct Pokemon is, but that's the last thing I can really capture before opening up the remainder of the region through side quests. However, I just kept moving on through routes 14 and 13, training my Slugma until it finally hit level 38 on Route 11, evolving into Magcargo. First item on that list of side quests, though, is restoring the power plant on Route 10, where in front of the building I can find Electabuzz running around, then handle that quest to open up some new areas. Next up is getting to Lavender Town for the radio card upgrade, which I need to go through Rock Tunnel in order to do so. There's a few new catches in Marowak, Cubone, and Kangaskhan here, but nothing much else. Once I arrive, I can get the expansion card, then head back to Vermilion City, heading north towards Saffron to do the Copycat Girl side quest. Retrieving her doll from the Pokemon Fan Club gives me access to the Magnet Train, which lets me go back to Johto easily, but we really shouldn't need this all too often, as well as finally being able to get Porygon for the massive 9,999 coins over in Celadon. I've even got some money towards the other Pokemon here that's technically catchable elsewhere, but why not avoid it, right? Well, I still need a bit more funds in terms of that, so I'll just finish up some more catches first. I've got to take care of the Snorlax blocking Diglett's Cave, which really isn't much of a side quest as it is just an encounter I've got to capture, but it is an obstacle, I suppose. Diglett's Cave also contains, you guessed it, Diglett, as well as Dugtrio with the same repel trick used for Chansey. On the other side of the cave is Route 2, the home of Pikachu, seeing as Viridian Forest doesn't exist for some reason anymore. And for the last side quest of the region, in Pewter City, there's a man that gives me the opposite wing from the version that I have, in this case the Rainbow Wing. But before I go after Mega Ultra Chicken, I make sure to finish off Chansey's evolution, grabbing Mr. Mime from the game corner for 3,333 coins, before evolving the former into Blissey with max happiness. With the Rainbow Ring in hand, though, I can head back to Ecruteak City, go up the Tin Tower, and throw the Master Ball at the big Rainbow Chicken. I still find it weird that you can get both box legendaries in the same game. Really wish that they tried that with other games, maybe in Gen 3 and onwards, but I guess that gives you less incentive to buy both. Anyway, with the last legendary in hand, the next area I need to go to is Mount Moon, which houses the last rival battle, but why should I care when I have a level 70 Mega Ultra Chicken and a level 60-something Dragonite? I immediately fry his team, letting me capture Clefairy while I'm here, as well as grab a Moonstone on Friday night with the weird Clefairy ritual things after smashing this rock. I've got to do this twice since I need 2 Moonstones, but this is easily done after resetting the clock, evolving both Nidorina into Nidoqueen as well as Clefairy into Clefable with them. Awesome, that was the last capture of the section, but there's still 2 more things I can do before the short grind. Firstly, I gotta do some breeding. Electabuzz, Pikachu, and Clefable all get their due time with Ditto, yielding me 3 unique eggs, which I figured I'd hatch right now, getting Elekid, Pichu, and Cleffa. Last task of the section happens to be where Bill's old house on Route 25 is, as his grandfather is currently there, who asks to see certain Pokemon. This is where I can get the only Water, Leaf, Fire, and Thunderstones of the game, and only 1 each, so after showing him his requested Pokemon, I'm able to evolve Staryu into Starmie with the Water Stone, Weepinbell into Victorybell with the Leaf Stone, Vulpix into Ninetales with the Fire Stone, and Pikachu into Raichu with the Thunderstone. Sorry, Evolution fans, I'd love to get the other 3 available in the game, but I'm not about to breed my Umbreon 3 more times, and waste precious in-game time. With all of those evolved, though, I was able to finish the section with a total of 194 Pokemon in a time of 112 hours and 10 minutes. Only about 4.5 hours to do all that? Well, I guess that's fast, considering that was quite the chunk of gameplay I took out there. With that, there's literally 0 Pokemon between any of the Kanto gym badges, so I'm just able to run through Brock, Misty, Lieutenant Surge, Erica, Janine, Sabrina, Blaine, and Blue, getting me all 16 badges, and finally access to Mount Silver, where the last few Pokemon await. The last section of the game houses 5 new Pokemon, all of which being on Route 28 and in Mount Silver. Sneasel's the only one on Route 28 during the night, and since it doesn't evolve in this gen, I just throw it into the box and head into Mount Silver for my last 2 captures. Those 2 are Misdreavus and Larvitar on the 2nd floor of the cave. From here, I can just slap Larvitar with the EXP share and just grind like mad inside of Mount Silver. With nearly level 50 Pokemon, this is one of the best places to grind. So I'm able to just sit here and switch train between both my Dragonite and Ho-Oh so that I don't have to sit there and go back to the Pokemon Center over and over again. And quickly enough, Larvitar is able to evolve. But it's not as quick as you may think. Most Pokemon here are again near level 50, which may sound good for Larvitar since it evolves at level 55. But of course, Larvitar is the only Pokemon that's in here that's available at only level 15 or level 20. Thankfully I got the latter, but that doesn't really help much in the grand scheme of how much EXP this monster needs to fully evolve. However, thanks to the boatload of Pokemon that are in this cave, I'm able to finally finish this challenge by evolving Larvitar into Pupitar at level 30 and into Tyranitar at level 55, finishing it off with a total of 199 Pokemon and a time of 115 hours and 43 minutes. Now that time is not too shabby at all, though the game is severely teasing me with that total just shy of 200, makes me sick. I'm actually surprised at how quick this was, seeing as when you compare this time to other videos on the Gold and Silver Oak challenge, as John Stone finished his in 253 hours, and RJ Raccoon finished his with 179 hours and 31 minutes. Even so, I'm not even the fastest time, as that's still held by the likes of Noctali07 with a time of 109 hours and 15 minutes, about 6.5 hours ahead of mine. Anyway, I'm pretty happy with how fast I went through this challenge. I might not have the record, but I'm happy enough with the speed that I went. And I didn't really feel like I was rushing anything. I had a decent time with it, despite this being my third round through Johto in a Professor Oak's challenge environment. Hopefully it's the last time, but you know, Let's Go Johto is probably going to eventually happen. However, this means that all I have to do in the mainline Oak Challenge series are Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon, and the upcoming Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, but I bet you those things get pounded out pretty quickly. I don't think I'll be finishing USUM anytime soon, but I will definitely be jumping on BDSP as soon as they come out. Hope you look forward to it. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, click the bell, tell a friend, and don't spend more than a minute doing that, since if you are, you're taking too long. I want to give a huge shout out to my $10 and above patrons, Justin Dimmenstein, Aaron Rhinesmith, Aiden Brandon, Alex Steiger, Alexander Abday, Andy, Casper Kirkpatrick, Heimflow, Jacob Johnson, King, Kyle Campbell, and Zeno. Thank you guys so much for your support. If you'd like to support as well, you can head over to my Patreon page, link in the description, where you can get access to stuff like videos early, an exclusive role on my Discord server, link also in the description, challenge requests, and much more. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch this, and I'll see you guys next time with another challenge. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you next time.